Hey guys, and welcome back to my kitchen. But in case this is the first time you're stopping by, my name is Gina and I'm a wife and mother from the Midwest, and I enjoy cooking fresh meals for my family, and sometimes I make videos of my recipes and I post them up here on YouTube. Today we are going to be making my version of white chicken chili, and this is not the normal version that's made in a crock pot with a bunch of different canned condensed soup, which I'm not against. I sometimes use canned condensed soup, but this is definitely a lighter version filled with fresh veggies and just some brighter ingredients, and it makes for a great weeknight dinner. You don't feel like you're splurging, but we fill it with a bunch of fun toppings, and it's just really delicious. So our ingredients are, this is about a pound of chicken tenders, and this is just what I happen to have. Usually I actually use chicken breasts, but since we're on quarantine, like, this is literally the last piece of meat that I have, and the store was out of meat, so that's where we're at. So this is about a pound of chicken tenders. I have 2 Poblano chiles, and excuse my nails, I was digging in the garden all day. We have 4 cloves of garlic. I have 1 jalapeno, but you could omit that if you guys don't like spicy in your house. We have 1 onion, and it could be either yellow or white. It doesn't really matter. And then we've got about a cup of frozen corn, 2 cans of Great Northern beans, but you could use cannellini beans or any other kind of beans that you really want to use. If you want it to be white bean chicken chili, they should be white beans, but you could do pinto or kidney, whatever you guys like. I also have 4 cups of chicken stock in the 32-ounce box, but you could use Nor Suiza or you could use water if you didn't have it. And then we have salt and pepper, some ancho chile pepper that's ground up like chili powder, so you could use ancho or regular, some ground coriander, and I totally thought I had cumin in my hand. No. Here we go. Ground cumin. We're missing that. So those are our seasonings. Very simple, light and fresh and healthy. And then the fun part comes in the end when you garnish it. So we garnish ours like you would tortilla soup. So I've got some tortilla chips. I've got some sour cream, some fresh lime, avocado, Chihuahua cheese, and cilantro. And we'll get that all chopped up, and that'll just be fair at the end. So let me go ahead and apparently throw my phone on the charger and see where I'm going to begin. Be back in a second. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is we're going to be draining and rinsing both cans of beans, but I do one first. So this is 1 can of the Great Northern beans drained and rinsed, and about a cup, a little bit more give or take, of chicken broth, and it doesn't matter because we will be adding the entire box of chicken broth to the soup in the end, so just put enough so you can blend it. And we're going to go ahead and puree this bean and chicken broth mixture and set it to the side, because this will help us thicken up our soup without having to add any creams or roux. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that, and then go ahead and drain and rinse my other beans and set those to the side as well. Alright guys, so the next thing that I'm doing is I went ahead and I chopped up our Poblano chile and my onion. And it's just a small dice, and please take note, for this recipe you do not have to roast and steam and peel the Poblano peppers because they cook in the pan. You're going to fry them like you would any other kind of pepper, so we're all good. For the jalapeno, I went ahead and removed the seeds and the veins, and then just minced it pretty small. And then this is optional. You could add half of a jalapeno, you could add no jalapeno, whatever, it's up to you. And then I minced up our 4 cloves of garlic to have them ready. And then I've got a pot here. This is, I call it a casserole pot, but I don't know what it's really called. But in the bottom I have some olive oil that's been getting hot. And then I'm going to go ahead and add all of our peppers and onions to the pot, jalapenos as well. And then, sorry guys, it's hard for me to get it all out with one hand. Can't waste the peppers. Okay, so whenever we saute vegetables, namely onions or mirepoix or your aromatics, you're going to want to add salt, because salt helps the vegetables release their moisture more quickly. So for those of you who are measurers, I'd say probably about 1/4 teaspoon, just enough to get the party going there. And you do want to salt all of your layers as you go up whenever you're cooking, so that way everything is seasoned as you're adding it. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this go. This is on medium. I'm actually gonna raise it up to like medium high because I want to try to get a little bit of browning going on these because that'll add extra flavor to our soup. So I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm gonna let these go, and when they're ready, I'll be back when we add our garlic. All right, guys. Maybe I had the Rona. Coughing. What the heck? So I just wanted to share my trick with how I get this caramelization on these. It doesn't look that much because I haven't flipped the layer again yet. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn it up to like medium high or almost high. I added a little extra olive oil just because mine was sticking, and I have stainless steel pans, but that won't be a problem if you have non-stick pans. And then you're going to leave it for like 2 minutes without stirring it at all on super high heat. And that's going to basically start to burn or caramelize the bottom layer. And then about 3 times I do that. I don't know if you can see really good, but there's a bunch of nice little brown bits that are starting to happen. And this actually looks good. You don't want to dry it out too much. We don't need it to be like blackened or anything. So let me go ahead and put this back down to like medium heat. And then we are going to scoop up Jelly Bear. Yeah, I don't want Jelly Bear to get dirty, so watch out. We're going to go ahead and add in our garlic, which is really hard to scoop up with a knife. I'm getting pretty good at cooking with one hand, guys. And then we're just going to stir fry this for a second to cook off some of that raw garlic flavor. Somebody actually made fun of how I say raw on one of my videos in the comments. Like, thanks, troll. I don't think there's anything weird about it. Anyways, alright, so now that that's going, we have our spice blend here, which is 1.5 teaspoons of coriander, a tablespoon of cumin, and a teaspoon of chili powder, ancho chili powder. And we're going to go ahead and add this to the pot and start stirring it around to kind of wake these dried spices up. It helps to bring out their flavor and also make your kitchen smell really, really good. So if you are hungry because you've been out in the yard working like I am, you're going to get really hungry right about now. Okay, perfect. I'm going to have to put you down for a second so I can unscrew the cap on these beans. Okie dokie, sorry about that. Next thing we are going to do is we're going to add the remaining chicken stock. So it should be about 3 cups. And then we're going to really stir to get these brown bits up, because that is a lot of flavor on the bottom of your pan. It's called a fond, F-O-N-D, in case you guys didn't know. And you never want to leave that chilling on the bottom of the pan. You definitely want that in your belly, because that is all that delicious flavor that happens from the caramelization of your veggies, or like bacon, same difference, or certain meats when you're making a gravy. Okay, so perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to dump in our pureed bean mixture. Doesn't look very thick right now. And this does not by any means thicken up to like a cream soup consistency. It definitely has a little bit of, you know, weight to it. I don't know what the right word I'm looking for is. Thickness, I don't know, whatever. And it does actually thicken as it sits. So this does freeze for up to 3 months in the freezer. And if you were to reuse it in the future after you defrost it, you definitely probably have to add a little bit more chicken broth in it, because it does kind of tend to congeal as it sits. So I'm going to go ahead and raise this back up to medium high so we can bring this to a simmer, because the next thing we're going to be doing is adding in our chicken. I have to wash mine off, and yes, I wash my chicken. I know there's like all these controversial videos on the internet about don't wash your chicken, you're gonna splash germs in your sink, but like last time I checked, I'm not worried about germs being in my sink because I wash it, but I'm worried about like gross chicken juice being in my stomach. So I'm definitely gonna wash my chicken. Leave it up to you for whatever you want to do with your meat, but I'm gonna wash it. So let me go ahead and take care of that, and then we are going to pop this in here and poach our chicken so that we can shred it in a little bit. So I'll be back. Okay guys, so I just wanted to pop back on really quick. I've got my chicken tenders in here. This ended up being like 7 chicken tenders, which actually might be a little bit much for how much chicken I like to put in our soup or whatever, but it'll be fine. So these are still raw right now. I went ahead and I added some more salt, probably about 1/2 teaspoon to season up the broth and the beans, and hopefully it's not too much because I didn't realize that I bought beans that were salted and they're not low sodium, so whatever. And then I added a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper, probably about 1/4 teaspoon. But you don't need too much black pepper in this soup because we do have the Poblano chiles and the jalapenos in there, so there's already like a pepper element, if you will. Now I've just got it on medium-high. I'm waiting for this to come to a simmer. Once it does, I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on it and lower it to like medium-low and probably simmer it for like 15 minutes or until the chicken is cooked through. And I will be back when I pull that out. And I did want to state, I know that this is called white bean chicken chili, and a lot of people think of that being a white soup, like because it's a creamy soup. But as I mentioned, this is a very healthy version. So that's why our soup is this color. Like, it is not going to get whiter. We're not going to be adding cream to it. It is going to be this color with beans in it. So, nice. It's coming to a simmer. Might as well just cover it up for you guys. And let's turn down our flame. And I'll be back in about 15 minutes. Alrighty guys, it has been our 15 minutes. I've removed our chicken to my cutting board where it'll cool for a second before I go ahead and remove any unwanted nasty bits and shred it up. And then I have our corn and our beans in here. The other can of beans that's been drained and rinsed. And we're going to go ahead and add this to the pot. And yes, theoretically you could add that probably when you're doing the boiling of the chicken, but it's just my personal preference because technically we're just like heating these 2 items through. They're not actually cooking, and I don't want like raw chicken juice on them. I don't know. It's up to you. So we're going to simmer that. I'm going to go ahead and shred up the chicken and then add it back to the pot, and then that'll be our final product. I also chopped up all of my little side items. So let me just go ahead and get everything back together and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Alright folks, this is what it looks like. I've already served up our soup, so that's why there's not so much in here. But as you can see, it is a pretty hearty, rich soup. This does have extra chicken in it this time, as I mentioned. I didn't want to waste it, given the situation, but I've got everything plated up and we'll be back to show you the taste test. Alright guys, so this is what it looks like. It doesn't look that cute. Sorry, but I topped mine with some Chihuahua cheese, which is sinking to the bottom here, melting. 1/4 of an avocado. What, honey?
That money up under your phone?
Oh, because when we marked the ice cream, I put it in there. Anyway, sorry guys. Avocado, some sour cream, Mexican style sour cream, some fresh cilantro, and some tortilla chips that are crumbled up. And yeah, my husband is very tired, so I don't know if we're gonna get a taste test out of him right now because I am very hungry. But
I can taste it. It's so hot though.
Yeah.
No, it's so hot. I don't want to burn myself, but it's good. I know it's good.
Well, that was a really not good taste test. Sorry, guys. Anyways, thank you so much for stopping by and watching my video. I hope you enjoyed this simple recipe made with pantry staples for my healthy version of white bean chicken chili. It's tasty. My kids are not eating it. My kids would not eat this, even with the Poblano chiles and with the stems and veins removed from the jalapeno. It's just too spicy for them. So that's that. I'd appreciate it if you could give my video a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you loved it, go ahead and consider subscribing to my channel because I love watching my community grow. And I really totally appreciate you guys. And my children are not letting me say goodbye, so I guess we will just say have a good night.
Nighttime, so bye.
Bye, Fief.